and it's called The Woman in the Window, and this is not going to get a strong recommendation at all. I am sorry, buddy. The Woman in the Window is a movie that was supposed to come out last year as well. I believe in April of last year. So it's been about a year since it was going to come out. I remember seeing this trailer and being really excited for it. It was one of the final films that 20th Century Fox had and became 20th Century Studios. And then last year, it was sold to Netflix. Big red flag, everybody. If a big studio ever sells their film to Netflix, it's usually not a good sign. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, we're going into this. The Woman in the Window is directed by Joe Wright. We will get to you in a second, sir. Joe Wright, starring Amy Adams, Gary Oldman, Julianne Moore, Wyatt Russell, Brian Tyree Henry, just a bunch of great actors.
Anthony Mackie in this too?
Anthony Mackie, kind of. There's a bunch of people in this film that are famous. It's got a lot of pedigree going in. So the premise is Amy Adams is agoraphobic. She will not step outside at all. She lives in her home. She talks to her husband on the phone all the time, but they're separated, and she's just kind of by herself with her cat. A family moves in across the street. She starts to get to know them by them coming over to see her. She meets the son. She meets the wife, and she meets the abusive husband. And then one day she's looking out her window and sees a murder happen, sees the wife get murdered and taken.
That sounds so familiar, dude.
Well, hold on.
So,
but there's a twist. So sees the wife get murdered, calls the cops, gets them involved, and then the family comes over and is basically like, that's not my wife. I didn't murder my wife. My wife's right here. And then there's Jennifer Jason Leigh. So it's one of those intrigue movies of, did this happen? Did it not happen? Is she crazy? Did she see something? It's essentially Rear Window, which, I mean, it's in the title. Rear Window meets Fight Club to me. Where is this in her head or is it not? Sounds fascinating on the surface, but it's not at all. Joe Wright, what are you doing, sir? So Joe Wright, director, is he's known for period pieces, basically. Anna Karenina,
for me, man. I'm not.
Pride or Prejudice, Atonement, The Darkest Hour,
Hannah.
Pan. So
he did Pan. Let me go through The Soloist, which is one that I mentioned.
Soloist, yes.
Yeah.
He's a well-respected director. He's got some hits and he's got misses, and this one makes no sense at all. So hearing that premise, you're like, okay, I'm in. A murder mystery. She's looking at something through. Rear Window is one of the best movies ever made to me. Alfred Hitchcock.
I absolutely adore that film.
It might be his most rewatchable film. You can easily get Jimmy Stewart's got so much charisma. Amy Adams has a lot of charisma, but not in this film. This film, for some reason, they feel the need to stylize it over the top. There are weird camera angles where things get zoomed in really quick and zoomed out. There's a shot where Amy Adams is sitting on her rocking chair and looking through the crack of the door, and you see things there at one point, and then they're gone at the next point. It keeps going back and forth. And it's like he's trying to be very creative, but dude, just tell the story. Just give us what we're here for. Let the mystery unfold on its own and for us to figure it out from there. And it just doesn't work. It's way too much. Amy Adams is not the charming Amy Adams we know. She's kind of frustrating in this because you don't know what her deal is. Where is it going? And then finally, when there's the reveal at the end, what's actually happening, what might have happened or might not have happened, it makes no sense. It's not worth it. And you just feel like you wasted a lot of time. Every movie we've talked about today, first one was 90 minutes, second one's 90 minutes, this one's 100 minutes. This one felt the longest, but by a lot. Like I felt like I saw this movie feels like it's 3 hours. It's way too long, and I was not a big fan of this one.
All right, so you're saying you're not a big fan. Obviously, you're saying that Joe Wright didn't hit it and Amy Adams didn't hit it. How was the supporting cast?
Supporting cast is fine, but this is not their movie at all by any stretch. This is a movie where Amy Adams is in every shot of this film. You follow her around the house. This is her movie, and other characters come and go.
Kind of like Jimmy Stewart in Rear Window.
Precisely. And I believe Gary Oldman's doing something weird in this. He's got a weird accent.
This is an Everyone Award?
Yes. Like he might get that. Jennifer Jason Leigh makes no sense. Julianne Moore is a little creepy. I think the only other actor who really works in this is Wyatt Russell. And Wyatt Russell is the tenant that lives in Amy Adams' basement. he just because she's got like it looks like a 6-7 story house. Like she's that rich. And there's shots from the stairwell looking down. You can see every single floor she has. So Wyatt Russell lives in the basement, and will like take her trash out every now and then, or just walk in. He has a lot of charm. He brings some kind of levity to it. Brian Tyree Henry will step in every now and then as
that's what I was to tell you, man. Because Brian Tyree Henry kind of like kills everything he's in, dude. He's just a fun actor in everything that he's in. He was one of my positives in Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
But
and he walks into this, and he like we just know what he's capable of. We know what all these actors are capable of, and I don't feel like Joe Wright lets them play to their strengths, which is what you really need to do with something like this, a mystery film. Let us see this cast of characters and maybe make it a guessing who actually did it, or is Amy Adams just crazy and imagining all this in her head? It's one of those that goes back and forth. You're just not on board for them. It's like you sit there and you say to yourself, get on with it. What are we doing? It felt like such a waste of time. And I was very let down because seeing this trailer, seeing this cast, the director, you feel like, okay, maybe Amy Adams could get her Oscar from this. This could be one of those intriguing films. Woman in the Window connects to Rear Window. It's got some pedigree to it. And no.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like she did so we talked about Amy Adams before we came in here. Ever since Arrival in 2016, I don't know what she's doing, man. She's chasing. So she does Justice League, and then does I believe it was Hillbilly Elegy. Not a good film.
Yeah, I avoided that one like a plague because it was just a general census of that film was that it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I'm not one to be completely honest with you that I'm like, if I like a movie, and I've said it before, I said it here right now with Mortal Kombat. If I like a movie, I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna watch it. This and that. But this was something that was like just everyone was like, what is going on with this film? So yeah, no, he did it. I think she did Sharp Objects, which I heard was phenomenal.
I heard that's a good TV show. Vice, I thought she was good in, but she's not in much. It's not her movie. That's Christian Bale's movie.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's Amy Adams. I want her to get back to just being the charming person she is and finding that right role for her. And on the surface, this feels like something that she probably read this script, saw who's directing it, saw the cast, and was like, you know what, this might be it for me. And it just doesn't work. It's one of those letdowns where all the pieces are in place and everything doesn't fit.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I had no idea what this movie was until probably last night or 2 nights ago, and it wasn't even from you. It was from our friend James, from Real James. Check out his channel if you guys haven't seen it. He's a great movie reviewer, a great friend of ours. He's the one that was telling me that he was going to review this, and so I read about it, and I'm like, oh, it sounds awesome. And then you're telling me here, don't go for it.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all, and it's just like I said, if a movie gets sold to Netflix from another studio, it's usually not a good sign. So just keep that in mind, guys. I remember The Lovebirds came out last. It was supposed to come out, and then Netflix got it. What's J.J. Abrams' series? Cloverfield Paradox. It's on Netflix, and it's just a complete mess. So keep that in mind. Netflix original movies are usually good. The ones they buy, probably not. There's a reason why the studios are dumping it to a streaming service. So keep that in mind, everyone. It's on Netflix this weekend. I would give it probably the same as you with Spiral, even though it seems like you're a little more positive with Spiral.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more positive with Spiral. I didn't hate it. It just didn't do anything for me. It's a very like shoulder shrug movie for me. And I didn't hate it. I just wanted more out of it. And I feel like I'm asking for too much.
Exactly. And this was just disappointing. It's not something I wanted probably ever go back and see. I'm just kind of angry that all the right pieces were in place and this is what we got. It doesn't make sense to me. So I give it if you gave Spiral a 2, it sounds like you're more positive. I'll give this about 1.5. I don't need to see this again. I don't want to see it again. Amy Adams, maybe stay away from Netflix because Hillbilly LG was on Netflix. So maybe take another turn.